Welcome to the PortfolioProof tutorial on how to create portfolios in the program. Portfolios are used by PortfolioProof to organize groups of images and make it easy to apply security settings to them and to give permission to select groups of users. So the first thing we're going to do is I'm going to log in here. Now, just in case you're new to the program, in the end, these are what portfolios look like. Portfolios come up in the list of portfolios. They're both public portfolios, which are available to everybody who's logged in, and private portfolios, which are only available to people you give permission to. Once you click through on a portfolio, you have access to all the different images, and you can click through to get all the functionality of those. But as well, just on a portfolio basis, you have access to to-do lists, folders, comments, full screen browse, being able to sort items, and a variety of other functionality. But for this tutorial, we're just going to go through how to create one, and you'll see it's quite easy. On the main menu, you'll find a link to add portfolio. Very first field is avatar. You can specify an avatar that'll be used for the portfolio in all the lists, like the ones we just saw. Or you can let PortfolioProof select one automatically by randomly selecting one of the items within the portfolio. Or if you create one without an avatar and without any items in it, it'll just assign a default one. So for now, we're just going to leave that blank. Let's just call this test. Now the very first thing we're going to do is assign a client to this. Clients are users which have already been created. If you haven't created one yet, it's not a problem. You can add the client right here. We go through all the creating client information in a separate tutorial, just to keep this on point. So since we're creating a private one, let's create it for Jane Doe, and we'll make it private. So now Jane Doe is that Jane Doe and yourself, the administrator or whatever you're logged in as right now, are the only two people who will be able to access it. For type, we'll call it commercial. Both type and status are there using just to make search easier, just to make sorting easier. Like most other places, if you want to add new ones, you have that power. Add a quick description there. For record keeping, you can keep track of shoot dates, presuming it's a photography project. And also you can set an expiration date for the project if you want the project to no longer be available to users other than yourself after a particular date. For the time being, we'll just leave those blank. Alright, we've created our first portfolio. As you can see, the portfolio page looks a little barren right now. It's because we haven't added anything to it yet. So the first thing I'm going to do is add a couple of folders. You'll notice for avatar, very much like portfolios themselves, you can upload your own avatar. But in this case, we'll just go with the default. Let's select our portfolio, which is test, and we'll just call this folder 1. We're going to call this the default portfolio, just because it's the first and only one right now. If you don't have a default folder selected, it'll make one for you. But as you'll see when we get into sorting images, the default folder is the one that comes up first. So we'll add that, and let's add one more, just to make life interesting. Call it test, folder 2, add. Okay. Next thing, of course, is to add some images. First, let's just add a single image just so we can show you the screen. Under Portfolio, we select the portfolio we want it to go to, and we'll just call it Test Image. Now skew, if you have internal naming mechanisms, and in particular skews, that you want to use for images, you can put them here. These are particularly useful for ID numbers. For the image, let's go to that. For thumbnail, you can select your own thumbnail. If you don't, the system will automatically generate a thumbnail for you. For folder, let's put that in folder 1. You'll notice these are the folders I just created. It's not too late. We could still add folders if we wanted to. Would we like watermarks on our images? We can add watermarks. We're not going to, for the sake of this demonstration, but these facilities are here for you. And there's another tutorial on the site on creating your own watermarks, so you can have whatever you like show up in this list. But for now, we'll say no. Status, we'll call it done. Show in list is used. You'll notice there's an items area where you can just list general items outside of portfolios. That can be useful if you just want to kind of show a sampling of your work to prospective clients. I'll just refill this in very quick. Can download is just what it sounds like. If you want them to be able to download the original image, not the version that's on the website, which is usually smaller than the original, you can leave it at yes. If you don't want to give them that capacity, you can leave it to no. Just to show you around, we're going to select yes. You can specify a license for your image if you want that information to be displayed. As I mentioned earlier, you can still add whatever licenses you want. In this case, I'm just going to go with the Stock Exchange Standard License because I happen to know that's where the photo is from. Details. Details is purely descriptive area. Meta tags is another area that's useful for search. If there are tags like that describe the image that wouldn't necessarily, if there are words rather that would describe the image that wouldn't be in the details that you just entered and not in the name of the image, you can enter them there so people can find it via search. Copyright info is just a little extra information just to remind your users and credit any particular photographers you need. You can also set date available and expiration date. Date available is when it shows up on the site, and expiration date is when it disappears from the site. In both cases, this does not apply to you, the person creating it. It applies to the users. For this form, there are only 4 things you need to fill in: the portfolio, the name, the image, and the folder. All these other elements are nice to haves, but if you leave them blank, it's not the end of the world. It's really up to you. So we're going to click Add, and there's our first image. You'll notice the download link there has appeared because I set downloads to on. Otherwise, it just wouldn't show up at all. Notice it's keeping track of views here, how many people have actually looked at the image page. Right now it's 0, and there are 0 comments, and we can bookmark it or unbookmark it. Alright, now let's get serious. Under Items, Bulk Upload, let's upload a bunch of projects. Okay, we'll put this in test again. For the names, just because we're uploading a bunch at once, it needs to know what to name them, just to display on the screen. You can use the file name if you like. Most people don't like doing that just because, you know, it looks kind of funny, you know, something long.jpg. So we're just going to use the portfolio name, which in this case is test with auto numbering, and it'll call it like test 1, test 2, test 3, test 4. Alternatively, you can specify whatever name you want, and it'll use that appending the numbers 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. But in this case, let's just keep it simple and go with portfolio name. We're going to put it in folder 1, and you'll notice the moment that I chose folder 1, my upload queue appeared to the right. It's because those are the only 4 pieces of information that it absolutely needs. Everything else it considers nice to have. So if you're in a rush and you need to upload a lot of stuff, great. If you want to get specific and fill in the rest of it, like you want to specify watermarks, you want to specify different tags and statuses and, you know, details on the files, you have that power as well. Right now, let's just upload a few. And there they go. And we're done. Well, let's go back. And here are all our images, added and ready to go. So that's the basics of creating a portfolio, PortfolioProof. If you have any more questions, please feel free to visit smartmargin.com. We've got a variety of documentation and a lot of other video tutorials there for you to peruse. If you don't find what you need, please do give us a shout. You can contact us via email or phone or instant messenger, and all those links are on the site. We're here to serve you, and we look forward to hearing from you.